weren't they? Only two men.
Absolutely, he's got to be a good player with a haircut like that, hasn't he? Really fantastic.
I mean, at 17, he's got some confidence, though.
Absolutely. He's just a top player, dribbling, lovely left foot, Great finish at 17, 100 games or something?
Yeah.
At 17, incredible.
Scoring in the Champions League on your 100th game. I mean, it's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Gary Lineker was talking about him already being one of the best players, potentially in Europe, in the world. Do you agree with that?
I'm not going to disagree with Gary.
He's not here. It's fine.
He's on the path. Honestly, he's on the path. When you talk about what Messi and Ronaldo and all these players, the only player that really did it at 17 was Pele, and that is a ridiculous thing to say. So yeah, he's on the right path.
Okay, let's move on from that because it is also the regular season is coming to an end in the EFL today. Yes, it's the final day of the championship. It's live now with loads going on in the race for the playoffs and at the bottom, and you can follow that now on the BBC Sport website and app. Leagues 1 and 2 will be concluding this afternoon. Final score will be on iPlayer from 2:30 and BBC One from 4:30. Okay, it's time for Focus at 50 now, and speaking of 50th birthdays, many happy returns to David Beckham as he celebrated his half a century. Okay, let's move on from David Beckham and all that talk though, because this is not our first rodeo at Goodison Park. We've actually been here back in 2016. We hosted the show live from across the road there at St Luke's Church.
Everton are a club proudly at the centre of their community. In every single home game, the fans gather here at St Luke's, at one of the corners of Goodison Park. And today, they've opened their gates for Football Focus. One of these guys up here was responsible for Howard Kendall leaving the club second time round, and it wasn't Graham Sharp. It was you!
Sorry about that. we asked him for too much money. I was asking for no money. Obviously, they didn't give me the money to sign, and he said, well, forget it, I'm off then. And, I think there's a lot of Everton. I spoke to a lot of Everton fans about this, and they went, yeah, Dion, you're actually right. He actually done one because of you.
There was a lot said social media about the picture that he had taken as well. Did you get a bit of stick from the lads when they dressed him for that?
Yeah, I did for a while. I still bring it up, and everywhere I go now, it's smile before a picture.
There he is at the back. You can see shall I say the full package? I'm not sure I can say that. That is Speedo Mick, everybody. And Speedo Mick is attending every single Everton game this season in his Speedos. He's trying to raise money for a local hospice.
On a match day, we have a lot more people here than we do generally during the week, but it's just great to be able to welcome all the football fans. We have tea before the match and just cheer them on.
Important question. You are an Evertonian, aren't you?
Of course.
Can we have a nice big cheer if you think Everton are going to win today?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of cheering going on here at Goodison Park today. And look who's managed to join us. It is Jordan Pickford. Thank you for taking the time. We've grabbed you in. How are you feeling ahead of the game today?
Yeah, all good. Another game. Just excited, trained all week well, and ready to get going. It's the last 2 games at Goodison, so hopefully we make it a good one again.
How does that feel? Because there obviously is a lot of noise around it and the emotional farewell, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. I think it'll be, we need to put a performance on. We need to get going early doors for the games and put on a performance for the fans because they deserve it. But yeah, it's been good 8 years, obviously. The lads here, they've played a lot before my time, so but no, I think I was at the stadium last week, the new stadium, and it's mega.
As you say, welcome to David Moyes. Thank you for coming in after spending the summer with us last year at the Euros. We were just saying about how emotional it is coming into these last 2 games and the final farewell.
Yeah, it is. I think I'm really fortunate to be in a position to come and do this because I never thought at one point this was ever going to happen, and obviously the chance to go to the new stadium as well. So yeah, we're getting near the end here.
Carry on from that as well, because your return from January, the brief was to make sure this club stays up. You managed to do that in some style as well. So how does that feel for you?
Thank you. It feels good because when I was coming in, I was saying, my goodness, the last thing I want to do is be the one who takes this club down. I'd been here that long before. I didn't want that on my CV here, and it was a lost any sort of thing that I had at this club. So thankfully we got ourselves in a good position early. The players done so well in the early games and put ourselves safe quite early.
Now, so what's your thought process for these last 2 home games? Is it have to win the games and go out on a full? Is it go and entertain? Is it go out and enjoy yourselves? You deserve it. What's the mindset in the dressing room?
I'd really like to finish the top of the sort of group who are chasing those positions. I think 13th is about the best we can do. It doesn't sound great, but maybe when we started it would still be pretty good. So we've got 2 or 3 games to go. We've obviously got 2 games at home, which on paper would look winnable. We have to try and win them. That starts today. But we've also obviously got difficult games at Fulham and Newcastle before the end of the season as well. But look, I think over the last few years, and you boys who've sort of been commentating and watching Everton more in the last few years, will tell me that, and Jordan, you know, the strain and the pressure of having to stay up in the last day and the way the club was is too difficult. So thank goodness we've got that over and done with.
Are you saying those days are a bit firmly behind? And are you going to manage a holiday in the summer, or is it going to be a lot busy time?
Well, first I'll answer your first bit. I hope those days are behind. We always hope that, you know, you're never going to be in this position, but it's just been too often for the club here. So I'm hoping that we can try and climb up the league, and our form in the last sort of 2 or 3 months has made us sort of mid-table, maybe a bit above that. So it's a starting point, and it just shows you that the players can do it. But the summer looks busy. I'm still going on holiday anyway. I'll need to
take a cap.
I was going to say that I think all Evertonians want to know, David, if there's any money to spend in the summer for the team to try and rebuild and get where we want to get to, where you want to get to, is there a few quid there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, the Friedkins have said that there'll be money to spend. I think the biggest worry, this club has had money to spend over recent years, and you know, in some ways, even our time, Duncan, with Ozzy, part of it was we didn't have a great deal of money, and we actually built probably better, you know, slower,
smarter.
Smarter. You're exactly right. And sometimes, you know, you hate to think that the football's all about money. You'd hope that football was still about, hey, can we build a good team? Can we get a good group of players together? Good team spirit. Might have a way of getting results. But look, it sounds as if money seems to be the thing that everybody wants to know. But the answer to your question, Duncan, is yes. We're expecting the Friedkins to come up with some money, and hopefully we can add to the squad.
You need support, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And I think to get out of the situation we're in, Duncan, and then going to the new stadium, it's a new start for everybody. But let's be fair, it's really difficult to sort of do it in one window, and we'll need to see what we can do anyway.
Yeah, Jordan, I know you're standing there, but we're going to give you just a moment to think about your best memory. So, David, we're going to come to you with your favourite memory.
And I'm not saying it because he's here. Maybe Dunk's goal against Manchester United. We beat them 1-0 here, and that was probably the reason we qualified for the Champions League that year. Dunk scored down that end, and that got us into the Champions League for the. You know, and if you think of the levels at that time for us to be competing at that compared to where we are. But I've also had great memories. You know, Wayne scored the goal here against Arsenal when Wayne's name was always mentioned. But people like Lee Carsley scored a winning goal against Liverpool here. So